A lot of dead bees down here in the front of the entrance. If you look at the entrance here today, it's a nice day and we're not in the way. I mean, why aren't bees pouring out of the front of it? My other hives look like this is what you would expect in the morning like this. I mean, it's pushing 10 o'clock and you know, there's coming and going activity. This is normal. You see bees up front. Usually most of my videos, we're looking at hives that are strong and healthy and we're extracting honey and I'm showing you different things that are found in strong, healthy colonies. But today, not so much. Hey everybody, David Burns. Thanks for watching today. Today I kind of started noticing over the last week or so, this hive has fewer foragers going in and out than all the other 20 or 30 hives behind me. So it's time to go in there and see what's wrong. This is going to be a great video because we'd like to think that our hives are always going to be strong and healthy, but there are times that things go bad. And I want to show you today techniques that I use as a master beekeeper to assess what's wrong with the hive and then what do I do about it? How do I make it a strong hive, or do I combine it with a weaker hive? We'll drop back in here. It's been about a week since we looked last time. And we might still see some bald brood. Be good to see how it's doing. Oh, it's going to be heavy, heavy, heavy. Yeah, this hive is just, wow. It's going to be tough to save this hive. It really is. There's some leftover paper from the Formic Pro. And like I said, it came out in winter, just way, way, way high on the mite count. Last week when we looked, they did have some brood on them, on the frames. They did have good larvae, but like I mentioned, they're not going to be able to tend to that larvae. It's just going to die. Not enough bees in there to help it out. All right, so let's see what this is going to look like here. Telltale sign again. Not bad. Everything looks good. It started to rain. Going to pop in here and say, as we continue to inspect this hive, please subscribe to my channel. Appreciate it so much. Doesn't cost anything. Give me a thumbs up. Really do appreciate and love you guys. Let's get back to inspecting this hive. We're back to just knowing that this is a very low populated hive. Mites have done their damage. And again, we have, you know, decent looking larvae, good larvae, pearly white, cap brood. They're just not able to care for what the queen is doing. I think there's a lot less brood in here than I saw a week ago. So they're cannibalizing their own larvae for food. There's the queen. Right up here, and I think she's a good laying queen. She's just in a badly populated hive. We're going to try something a bit unusual. We want to give our weak hive 2 frames of capped over brood. The reason you use capped over brood is because it doesn't require any resources, meaning that the nurse bees don't really have to do much other than keep it warm. Now in this case, we're going to take a swarm that the round circular hive produced, and I'm just going to pick it up. I've been using it as a resource hive. I decided not to make another hive out of it, but use it as a resource hive, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. I'm going to pick it up, I'm going to carry it back out to the weak hive, and hopefully we'll find 2 good frames of capped over brood that we can move over. The thing that's going to happen, it's really foraging well today. And what we're going to do is just not worry about those foragers. The foragers are all going to fly right back here to this location, and they're going to hang out and they're going to wait for us to bring it back. That's nice of them to do. That's how locked into this location they are. If we didn't give them the box back, after a few, maybe a day or 2, they're going to go back and get in one of these hives. They'll go up there and beg for mercy. Please let me in, my hive's gone. But for now, you'll see there'll be a big clump of bees when we bring this back. The reason I'm doing this is because I don't want to injure or cool down the brood, the capped over brood. It needs to be kept between 92 and 96 degrees. By keeping it in the box, we're going to achieve that. So we're just going to keep it nice, healthy, and warm all the way back to the other apiary. Oh, it's heavy. And then after we get done with strengthening the weak hive by giving them a couple of frames out of our resource hive here, we'll bring it back to the location And in this location, as you can already tell, look at the number of foragers that are coming back and gathering in a nice little pile where their hive used to be. Look at that, isn't that amazing? They're just hanging out right here in the general area. But we'll bring it back and they'll be happy. All right, let's take a look inside and hopefully we can find the frames of brood that are capped over that we need to strengthen our weak hive with. Give them a little smoke, see what's going on here. Now, I have used frames out of here just about a week or so ago, but I think they're doing good. Look at that, how strong and healthy they are. One of the things that I have told you guys before that is questionable about these particular types of 5-frame nukes is because they do have a space over here, but it's not enough space to give you a frame because it's angled in, so a frame won't work. Unfortunately, the bees take advantage of that, and it's too big of a space there, and so they'll build comb. It's kind of a hassle. If you're using this type of box very long, then you're going to have to deal with the extra comb, the stray comb, the bird comb that gets built along the wall there. So the bees are actually utilizing the comb that they're putting on the wall by putting some nectar in it. You can see, watch my hand, I'll shake this frame and you can probably see the nectar. Look at that, pretty runny, but it's nectar that's in that comb there. And the bees would love to eat that. I'll just sprinkle it on their hive here. All right, so now we got a little room, a little wiggle room. We can wiggle around and see if we can find the frames we need. Also, when we're giving a frame over to a weak hive, we don't want to transfer the queen over. So we have to make sure that the queen is not going to be on one of the frames we transfer over. We're going to transfer over a frame of capped over brood if we've got it. That's what we're hoping to find here. At least one, hopefully two. I have a presentation that I give to a lot of clubs about the importance of having a resource hive. It's a good training hive. This was an old frame that I should have waxed, but they're not doing too bad pulling it out. A little bit of wonky comb. Yep, so I gave them 2 frames that were just in the storage room, so no queen there. Ooh, this one is extremely heavy to lift. Okay. Not bad, it's got a lot of larvae. So good frame to look for the queen on. Thinking if I want this one or not. Boy, this one has a lot of larvae on it. So that would, oh, there's our queen. She's got a green dot on her. She's out of the round hive. She's been heading up the round hive now. I finally marked her this year, but unless they've swarmed without me knowing it, she's probably about 3 years old now. Look how small she is. She's the one that almost squeezed out of my little catcher cage that I tried to mark her on. You can tell, well, she's pretty slim on the abdomen side for sure. I'd say a lot slimmer than normal. So we know where our queen is on the bottom of the frame there. She's working her way back in, so okay, I can put her back in there. So let's see what another frame might look like. I don't want to take that one for 2 reasons. A little bit too much open larvae, open brood, and it's got the queen on it. Aha, here's the frame that we want. Capped over brood, ready to emerge and become workers to help the weak colony. Hopefully this side over here is the same. That'd be great. Oh yeah, awesome. All right. So we'll drop it back down in here for a second. We're going to have to check for the queen again, but I'm not going to let it get too close to the other one. Leave them separated. So now we're going to open that hive up and give them this frame. Upon inspecting this hive, I found that they have a queen. Everything looks good. The larvae looks healthy. No European foul brood, no American foul brood, but bald brood. Bald brood. So this is a good thing to talk about with bald brood. What is bald brood? What causes it? You know, and what do we do about it? There's 3 things about bald brood that I'll leave right over here. But the first thing we think of is hygienic behavior. If a hive has a queen that is very hygienic, the bees are opening up those capped cells and they're removing the pupae that's in there because it's been infected or traumatized by the mites that are biting it. And so you might see in bald brood sometimes, if a hive has a high mite level concentration of mites, and then the hive is very hygienic, you can see that this is sometimes bald brood. But in the case of bald brood, you'll also notice a lot of the pupae that are being torn up, and that's a telltale sign. Now, in the case where another cause for bald brood can be wax moth damage, sometimes the wax moth larvae are going to be just burrowing through underneath the cap cells. And so as they do, they're damaging the developing pupae, and so you'll see that the bees will start opening up the caps. And when they do that, though, they're always going to be linear. They're going to be in a row, in a line, because the wax moth larvae are going to be going straight through, and so you'll see a line of open bald brood in a line. The third thing that can cause bald brood is simply a mite infestation. A high level of mite infestation can cause it as well. This hive came out of winter with a high mite load, terribly high. And I put Formic Pro pads in there as soon as I could to kind of flash kill as many of the mites as possible. So I do believe in this case, I don't know if it's hygienic behavior or they would not probably have had so many mites. And I don't see any evidence of wax moth, and the bald brood is not in a line, but the fact that they've had a mite infestation tells me the bald brood is because of the virus, the mites are spreading. But we're going to go in there today, and I wanted to do another mite test, but here's the thing. There's not enough bees for me to sacrifice 300 to do a mite test. So my approach to trying to solve this problem is I think it'd be good to treat it with Formic Pro again, one pad, and then let that pad do its time, and then put the second pad in, because there's just not a lot of bees. And then I can also introduce a frame or two from another hive to strengthen them with more bees. Now, the other thing you can do with a hive that's dwindled down and gotten weak like this is simply combine it with another hive. The reason I don't want to do that is because it has bald brood. That means I'd be carrying over a problem to another hive. So instead, I'm carrying over things that don't have a problem to strengthen a weak hive. Make sure we don't have a green queen on this frame. Looking for a green dot. No green dot present, so we're safe. Gonna double check. Nope. All right, so some people, now this would be good, some people say that when you give a hive a frame from another hive that all the bees are gonna fight. But I've noticed they don't. So I'm gonna set this frame right up next to that frame there, and we can kind of observe to see what may or may not happen. Two different hives. Two different active pheromones. See, I don't see any difference at all. It's like a normal hive to me. Nothing ramped up. I don't see bees fighting. But if you are insecure about it, smoking them doesn't hurt either. Kind of masks some pheromones a little bit, but I've always had good luck doing that. Okay, so we've got a few more frames to put in there. Let's go ahead and deal with the tough one. The one that has all the extra comb on it. Hopefully it'll stay in the hive. There's a lot of bees on this frame. Wow. And look at all that cap brood. That's wonderful. We're giving this hive a lot of cap brood. And some of the honey from the extra burr comb at the top has dripped on the bees, and they'll quickly clean that up. It's like, oh wow, look at that cap brood. Don't you love that? This is the round hive. That queen is just, even though she's slender, woo! She can lay some eggs with that slender abdomen. Whoever said size matters, huh? Pat, drop over here. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Now, I got to deal with my queen since I'm taking all the frames out. I've got a plan to...
You still got that cage in your pocket?
Yeah, but I got a better plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me shut up.
No, I like that. Always feel free to tell me, because I might think, oh, that's better. She was on this frame, but I don't know if she still is. Not seeing her right off the bat. Don't see a green dot. Okay, we'll look in a minute. I'm going to set
She's on the bottom.
bottom of the box?
Bottom of this one.
Oh, the bottom of the frame. Yeah. I see her, yeah. Yep. Good call. Okay, very good. Let me beat it out of my hand, put that there. All right. You know, I see her now, yep. All right. That's a good little queen right there. I love her. Let's find out which way she's going. Now, I like to pick her up, so I want to keep her in this box. All right. There she is. So what I'm going to attempt to do is pick her up and leave her in the box without any frames. So let's see if we can, she's just tucked away under all these bees now. She's still moving along here. It's easier to pick her up when she's on comb. All right, I got her. So what I can do is just set her right down in here on this comb. And now she's going to be on that comb, a little bit of comb that they put on the wall over there. And we'll just make sure she stays there. But now, let's move this frame out in case she walks out. All right, now I have 3 more frames to put in here. Try to strengthen the weak hive. Let's give them this one because it's big and heavy. Got some brood on it, so this is good. Can we salvage a suffering hive? I didn't see any bald brood this time. That's pulled out really wide, Patrick. This one right here. Yeah, that'll work. And now I'm using the sidebar extensions, get a little wider at the top just to push it all together. There we go. All right, let's drop back over here and see if you can look in here and see that in this hive, I'll show you where the queen is. She's right about at the end of my hive tool right there. So she's in this box. And they have some bees in here. What we can do is, I've got a couple more resource hives back there, and we can just shuffle boxes around. But meanwhile, we're going to put the frames that we took out of that hive over here in this hive. So here's one with just honey on it. We'll drop that over here. Yep. And I need one that has room for the queen to lay. Both of those are good. We'll put that right up against where that extra comb is. All right. We have another one where the queen could lay. Let's put that there as well. We have a couple of empty ones. So I'm going to put an empty one, kind of checkerboarded in the middle so they'll draw it out. And another one. All right, cool. So this really sacrificed the entire resource hive. But the good news is we do have the queen in there. So she can kind of get things going again. And I think I'm going to leave it at that. It'd be interesting to see what a new queen can pull off, how soon they can get kind of built up and going again. I just need to hold the queen. That's really all I'm after right now. All right. Got to get my pieces there. All right. There we go. This is a good example of when things don't always go right and you suffer with a problem in your hive and you have to deal with it. Now in this case, the colony looks pretty good. I do think there's a mite issue that we can solve by maybe putting Formic Pro strips in there one at a time, and we can reduce our mite loads. That's going to be so important. But we've solved the problem here of just low population. The bald brood is just a result, and we see so many frames of larvae that look great, but they didn't have the bees to feed them and take care of them, so they cannibalized them. And so I hope this video is really helpful for you guys that are really trying to figure out what in the world is wrong with my bees and how do I solve it. Well, if you just have one hive, it's going to be hard to solve a problem like this. You can have a couple of resource hives like I've shown you, and I've made a lot of videos about resource hives that are so important to be used like this. But in this case, it's going to be interesting to see if we can get this hive kind of pulled back together. We're keeping their original queen. She's got a good brood pattern. We've just given them a lot of resources, especially brood that's capped over. It's going to emerge and be helpful in the workforce right away to support what the queen is doing. So we'll keep you informed of how this goes. It may not work. It may be a lost cause, but you don't know unless you try. Try it out and see what happens. Most of the videos that I make show you guys how to keep your hives going, and usually it's always, now let's do that over. All right, here is good brood. I'm sorry, do that over. So here is good honey.
You got a clamp.
Oh, cut. Are we back in the blooper reel? We got to unclamp it. You want to give this, let's try that again. You know, I love doing videos like this because problem solving, it's what you got to do when you're a beekeeper. You got to problem solve. I got a problem with my speech now. I can't even talk. I got to solve that problem first. I want to refer you to a video that you might be needing to watch, because if you're lucky enough to have a strong hive that's making a lot of honey, and this is your first year, you've never extracted honey, I just made a video for you guys on how to take your honey from the hive all the way to the bottle, and I'll just let you watch it right here. See you guys over there.